Let's talk a few minutes about the rubrics. There are three of them, and it's worth your while to review them carefully because when I grade these assignments, I'm grading them according to the rubrics. And of course, the midterm and the final exam do not need rubrics because they're self-explanatory. So let's look at the first one, which is review questions. There are two elements here, critical thinking and writing. And for critical thinking, to get the total 20 points for review questions, you have to adequately answer all of the questions. You have to make sure that each of your answers is either numbered or bulleted, so I know where your answer begins and where your answer ends. And you also need to be prepared to cite the required text. So just don't go in and answer the question based on what you think or what you feel. Make sure you reference the text in answering your questions. And also writing and mechanics citations is the second element. And basically there you want no errors related to organization, grammar, style, and citations. And I do check for all of those things. And also when you look at the rubrics, make sure you look at the comments below each one of the rubrics. So that pretty much is what the review questions are about, or how I grade the review questions. The other two are a little more complicated. Let's look at ethical dilemmas first. And as you noted, if you're looking at the rubric tab, there are 4 ethical dilemmas. And in order to get a good grade for the ethical dilemmas, first of all, you have to, there are 4 critical elements here. You first have to identify and evaluate the relevant facts that are given in the dilemma. So in order to get a perfect score for that element, which is 10 points, you have to maintain an open mind until your conclusion. And I cannot emphasize that enough. I will deduct if right out the bat you're obviously have already decided what your conclusion is. I don't want to know your conclusion until you write the conclusion. And you need to also discuss the facts and evaluate what is relevant, and then what is relevant for direct action. Make sure you identify those. So I'm looking for some discussion here about what the facts tell you. The next critical element is the identification of the precise moral question. And that can generally be done in one sentence. Sometimes it might take 2, but that would be rare. I'm not looking for 2 or 3 paragraphs. I'm looking for what the moral question is. And if you review the couple of examples that you will find in the second week, I believe, you will see what I'm looking for. And the identification of the precise moral question is worth 5 points out of 50 points total. And then the third element is the correct application of the 3 major ethical theories. The three major ethical theories is virtue ethics, utilitarianism, and Kantian ethics, or the book titles it Duty and Reason Theory. And I want you to be able to, in this section, I want you to be able to correctly apply all 3 ethical theories to the moral question. And then after you've discussed it relevant to each ethical theory, I want you to draw a thoughtful and reasonable conclusion. So at the end, I'm looking for your conclusion as to what should be done in that particular ethical dilemma. And finally, as in all the rubrics, the final element is spelling, grammar, and organization. You don't want any errors related to organization, grammar, style, and spelling. Your font should be either 11 or 12 only. And your ethical dilemma should be at least 1,000 words. So that pretty well covers the ethical dilemma. And you know, when you go into the first ethical dilemma, it tells you how to organize your ethical dilemma into to sections. In other words, the identification and evaluation of the relevant facts. Then you'd have another subheading that would be precise moral question. And then the next one would be correct application of the 3 ethical theories. And then you would have conclusion. You would write your final section on your paper would be conclusions. So that's pretty well what is covered in the rubric for ethical dilemmas. And also, as again, make sure you review the comments that are at the end of the rubric. And finally, we have the discussion board rubric. There are 4 discussion boards, and you've got 4 critical elements here. First of all, the discussion board questions. You have to adequately answer all of the questions in your initial post, your first post. Make sure when you answer the questions that they're either numbered or bulleted. Again, I don't want to have to go through your answers and trying to figure out what part of your response goes to which question. Just set them up so the first question should be either number 1 or it should be bulleted. Critical thinking is the next element, and your initial post has to be at least 600 words and well thought out. You need to cite the required texts in your responses, and also the video. And in order to get 10 points on this element, you need to be able to do a little bit of your own research and bring new information to the discussion. You also need to, the next element, the third element, is timely and active participation. So you want to participate early. You want to make that initial post either on Sunday or Monday of that week, of the week that the discussion board is posted. And you want to be active throughout the post, at least 3 separate calendar dates for all your posts, and at least 3 thoughtful responses to at least 3 other students' posts. And you need to respond to any questions that a student may ask regarding your post or may challenge. So you need, in order to get a good grade here, and half the grade is timely and active participation, you need to be involved, and you need to go into the discussion board 4 or 5 times during the week. And finally, as in the other, writing is graded. It's worth 5 points out of the 50 points for discussion boards, and you don't want any errors related to organization, grammar and style, and citations. I do grade your initial post regarding your writing. Less so on your subsequent posts, in your discussion with other students in the class. And again, make sure you go through the comments at the end of this rubric for discussion boards. And if you have any questions at all regarding the rubrics, please let me know.